how to deal with the woke, which I'm very excited about speaking into. So some of you listening may have no idea what we're talking about, and I'm actually not going to get too into this because people apply this to many different things. But to put it in a nutshell, there's a lot of social issues in the world that people scream about, fight about, argue about, distance themselves from family members about, like so many things. And bringing it back to an individual level. If you want the world outside of you to change, you have to change. I'm going to say that again. If you want the world outside of you to change, you have to change. We can't scream to the leaders of industry and the government that they have to do things differently because that never works. Look at history. What does work is individuals starting at home and that rippling through the world behaviorally. So if you're in a certain camp or a side, the first thing I'm going to say is that environment or community heading towards a long-term outcome that feels really great for you? Is there actually a blueprint of how to get there, and is everyone actually doing it? Or is everyone continuously looping back to who's to blame? Who do we need to scream at? Who do we need to demand they change? Like, it's the same thing with self-development. If you continuously keep going in a loop all the way back to problems and pain, but you never actually get any closer to solutions and happiness and groundedness and connectedness and joy, it's the same thing. So if you're in those communities where it just feels like we're always in problems and we're waiting for something or someone outside of us to be different for us to feel better, you're never going to. Start at home. If you're in communities online, sweet Jesus, like this is something lately that I have been doing some pretty major research in the back end on this, and I've joined lots of different groups to witness what's happening. And the thing about humans is we, especially in the last few years, we're stripped all the way back to survival in many cases. And the next step up from survival is tribe. When we've gone all the way back to survival, when so much has been taken away from us, when we feel powerless, when we feel out of control, the first step we really need after that is coming together in tribe. Except usually in that state, everyone's still in survival, but they're just doing it together. And when a human is in survival, they're going to focus on all the dangers. And it's not until we individually start to progress from like, wait, this isn't getting us anywhere. This just feels like it's looping back to who's to blame all the time. And yet I did this thing where I feel a little bit better, or I tried this program, or I did this health kick, or whatever it is. And I know that things can be better, but maybe I'm going to have to step away from the tribe for a minute and focus on that and implement that myself. And then you start to see new tribes of people who are also doing that. And you come together and you create strategies for yourself. You create programs to stack of the things that you really want to see in the world, that you become yourself first. And that opens everything up. But you're never going to see that from the survival stage. You're never going to see that from step 1 or from step 2, which is the tribe. So what tribe are you currently choosing to be in? And does that tribe have a long-term outcome in mind that they actually know how to get to? Because so much of the time, so many of these tribes are just in that survival state. They found one little thing, like connecting with others or having certain events or talking in a certain way makes them feel good in the moment. And so they're like, let's just do more and more and more and more and more of this with more people. And it's great until you realize that it's not actually getting you any further. So perhaps you have to step back from all the noise for a moment. We call it the changing of the tables. Ask yourself, can I just stay at home for the next couple of months and go to work and just mind my business, get really clear and create myself a foundation, get clear on my intentions, on what I'm grateful for and what I actually want my outcomes of life to be? And what's the gap between where I'm at and where I want to be? And what do I need to start doing every day to get there? And when you do that, not only do you line up with new communities of people who are doing the same thing, and then you do that together, and that moves society and humans forward, that's how we change the world. So there are a lot of social issues that have a lot of noise, and it's scary how much attention some are getting that are in the long term incredibly damaging and dangerous. And you will never create change by screaming or yelling at it or demanding that something or someone else be different. We have to ask, how can I change? What am I going to need in order to be effective in creating global change? And what you're going to need is a strong foundation of self, is to know that your health's good, your money's good, your home environment with your relationships, with your partner, with your kids is good. When that's good, then everything is going to be easier to navigate, to have great conversation around, and to drive the human race forward. It's quite beautiful, and it's incredibly effective.